Alright, welcome back everyone. So in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at two different companies which are focusing on the hair loss sector. With all the advances in technology, I'm very optimistic that we'll find a company in the future that can solve for the wide range of issues that people experience with respect to hair loss. Now before we jump into the content of this video, let's check out our sponsor, which is that of Interactive Brokers, or IBKR. They're a brokerage platform which I use to put in large sums of money into my account. One of the companies that we'll be talking about in today's episode is possible to buy on their platform as well. And so for those who haven't signed up to IBKR yet, there is a link in the description below if you wish to sign up that way. Equally, head over to the platform and create an account and begin your investment journey. And so when it comes for hair loss in both men and women, if you look at the last 20 years in terms of approved drugs, there hasn't been much movement out there. But with the advances of the likes of machine learning and improved sequencing of genetic makeup, there's a birth of new companies out there that are trying to solve the likes of hair loss in both men and women, and all the other different conditions out there such as alopecia. And so with that said, the first company I want to take a look at is that of Replicell. We can see that Replicell is focusing on developing 4 products to rejuvenate skin, regenerate tendon, and regrow hair. As it stands, none of these products are commercially available yet. And that's because with any company out there that is dealing with the likes of hair loss, they have to go through human clinical trials for it to become FDA approved. And so let's take a look at one of their featured videos just to understand how this new technique works.
First, a punch biopsy is used to isolate healthy hair follicles from the scalp of a patient. Hair follicles are then dissected, leaving the hair's root. The dermal sheath cup which surrounds the root is inverted to reveal the dermal papilla, which is then discarded. In a growth medium, the isolated dermal sheath cup cells are multiplied to yield millions of new cells. These are then drawn up into a syringe for titrated injection. The syringe is inserted into the upper dermis of the scalp, and the patient's own replicated cells are injected below the skin's epidermal layer. The injected dermal sheath cup cells can migrate to damaged and dormant hair follicles to rejuvenate and further stimulate the growth of hair fibers. As the hair follicle reaches maturity, a hair fiber grows and emerges from the skin's surface. The anticipated effect of these processes is to re-establish a full head of hair for patients.
Now, as I say, this is still research phase. There's high risk when you look into investing in any of these companies, but this is a company that we can invest into. It's on the OTC market. They are based in Canada, Vancouver. In terms of the track record of the stock, it's not actually been that great. If you had invested back in 2017, or in fact any period other than around late 2020, you probably would have struggled to turn a profit. And the stock has been selling on a downtrend as well. Today I own 0 shares into the company, but it's one that I researched into when looking at different companies that are trying to solve hair loss. Now, trying to solve the hair loss problem, for instance within male pattern baldness, whoever is able to solve that problem would have such large market share. And if it happened to be Replicell, then their stock price would definitely show a higher value than what it is right now. But equally, it could be a private company out there that manages to solve the problem. But if you want a slightly less riskier company out there, then look no further than that of Pfizer. Now, you're probably aware of Pfizer based on their COVID injection, but they are currently trying to gain approval for 2 different drugs which are showing promise in phase 3 trials against alopecia. For those unaware of what alopecia is, this is an autoimmune disease that triggers severe hair loss. Now, back in August 2021, Pfizer showed that it actually improved scalp hair growth in alopecia patients in the phase 2B and the 3rd clinical trial. Currently, they are planning to file for approval and aims to launch the drug by 2025. And so obviously with the likes of the COVID jab, the stock price has been increasing significantly. If you look at the likes of late 2020, their stock has been pushing upwards with a current price of $51. Their market cap is very large at $291 billion. They're also a dividend paying company of 3.1%. And so that's a couple of companies out there. There's definitely more out there that we could look into. But if you want to have exposure, and with the likes of Pfizer, they focus on a lot of different health related sectors out there. And so they've also de-risked themselves And if you look at the two different companies that we're spoken about today, Replicell and Pfizer are on different journeys. The one use case that we've seen with Pfizer is for alopecia, and then Replicell is looking at trying to solve the male pattern baldness space, which affects 70% of men out there. And so as always, you can invest into companies which you would like to see a product that is out there for the mass market. Other people out there may just invest simply to make a profit. But personally, I think it would be great to see these two areas of alopecia and male pattern baldness solved for future generations out there. And in the process, if one of these take off, then we'll be rewarded with an increase in the stock price. So new videos are posted every Monday. I want to thank everyone who watches my content. Do share this video if you think it would help anyone out there. Equally, let me know in the comments below if you plan on investing any of the two companies that I mentioned in today's episode. Thanks to all the continued support in terms of subscriptions, and for any new subscribers that have joined the channel, welcome aboard. And with that said, I'll catch you in the next one.
We could work it out. Put me through the fire, let me know that this is real love. You could let me down, but don't drown me out. Stop playing, little mama, pick the phone up and just call me. Feel like you've been drowning, then let's flood it out.
I'm